After that day on the swing, things didn't get quieter. They got stranger. There were whispers behind closed doors, sudden visits from Tracy when my father reappeared, and stretches where they both vanished. I got used to being left behind. It had been about 7 years since that conversation on the porch swing. I was a teenager now, not that little girl anymore. Like always, she came back into our lives as if she belonged there, like everything was normal, and he let her. Again. Tracy would show up out of nowhere, not like family, but like someone testing the boundaries. She'd come with an attitude, like she owned the place. She always needed something, a place to stay, a favor, a way back in. When Mamie let her stay in our home, I didn't understand it. I just knew it felt wrong. Tracy didn't act grateful, she acted entitled. And she always brought drama with her. There were signs, even back then. And even then, things didn't change. There were times during my high school years where she would do cocaine in front of me and tell me not to tell anyone. She would use my phone to call other guys. She made me complicit in her secrets, even when I never wanted any part of it. And for the first time in my life, I was watching someone come into the house with money. Tracy would sit at the kitchen table with Mamie and count her tips, night after night. That's when something shifted in me. That's when I decided I wanted to work too. Not just for the money, but for the independence. So I got my first summer job at a restaurant that Tracy worked at. I didn't know it back then, but the owner's son, a boy in my grade, worked there too. He was actually friends with my best friend. And, well, that's how the rumors started. One day, my best friend came to me with things she'd heard. Lies. All of them. And they weren't just coming from some kid at school. They were coming from Tracy. She had taken the job I was excited about, the job I was proud of, and turned it into another weapon. That's why I confronted her that day. It wasn't at a restaurant. It wasn't in public. It was in my own home, and that somehow made it worse. It didn't happen all at once. It built up, slowly, over years. And then one day, I snapped. It wasn't supposed to be anything dramatic. My father had just picked Tracy up from work. When she pulled up, I felt it all rise. The heat, the history, the weight of everything she'd ever said to me. She walked in with a plate of food from her shift, sat down like nothing was wrong, like she hadn't betrayed me. Again. My dad sat beside her at the table eating too. I stood in front of her, trying to get answers. She ignored me, didn't look up, didn't respond. When you spend years swallowing things that should never have been said to you, there comes a moment when you can't hold it in anymore. It was about all the years of manipulation, the cruel things she said when no one else was around, the chaos she dragged into my life. It was about the porch swing, the silence, the pretending. It was about her showing up again and again, acting like she was owed something, and my father always choosing her. She sat across from me, smug, like nothing she ever said or did mattered, like she hadn't already warped my idea of love, like she hadn't made me feel like a burden in my own family, and I lost it. So I picked up her plate and threw it in the trash. Still nothing. So I grabbed my dad's orange bottled drink, which was open, and dumped it all over her white shirt. That got her attention. I ran. She chased me, but the hallway door was shut, and it stopped me from getting away. She raised her fist at me right in front of Mamie, but she stopped herself, because she knew if she hit me, she'd be out for good. It was the first time I pushed back, and I think that's when she decided I needed to be punished, because after that, everything changed. The phone calls, the false accusations, the system suddenly turning its eye on me like I was the problem. But that moment, the moment I threw that food, it wasn't the beginning of the fight. It was the beginning of me fighting back. I left the house after that. I decided to stay at my boyfriend's sister's place for a few days. I couldn't live under the same roof with her anymore. After that, she moved out, got her own place just down the street. And a few months later, I moved out too. I got my own apartment my senior year of high school. And a couple months later, I graduated high school. We kept crossing paths. She was still seeing my father on and off, so we'd sometimes end up around each other again. She eventually moved back in. By then, I had already learned being near Tracy meant being surrounded by chaos. I thought the worst was behind me, but the real unraveling was just beginning. Truth without permission.